Yes, people. It's been a very, very long time. It's Jacob on the one up top, and I feel today is the day to have a comeback because that was a madness. So first of all, I'm gonna do the honourable thing and congratulate United. Man United played brilliant from the off. When you look at the stats, they had like 28 shots or something mad like that, 10 on target, and they proved that you know the players proved that they're a bigger club, they're playing for a bigger club, and they know that it meant more for them to win the game than what Tottenham have done. This is what happened. So, first of all, congratulations, Man United. Bruno Fernandes, he's all been criticised for a long time, and he had a wicked game today. Rashford was playing in between the lines, didn't get his goal, but he was a constant threat. Everybody cusses out Fred, but I was telling a good friend of mine, Fred's going to have a good game today because we'll allow him to. And, arguably, for me, he was man of the match. Do you know what I mean? So, shout out to Man United. They played well from goalkeeper to attackers. Dallo had a good game. I'm one of those that I'm only fair in saying that they played really well. But I've come on here to speak mostly about my club, Tottenham. Now, the theme of today is how many L's do you want? How many L's does this club want? It's just L's, L's, and L's. You know what I mean? We should be named in Welsh because then at least if we're in Welsh, I don't know how many L's you want in your team. It would suit our club. So if I'm gonna go first and foremost, our goalkeeper was the best player today. How many L's has he got in his name? Lloris. He got two L's. So even our keeper, who was man of the match, two L's in his name. Okay? So that's what I mean about the constant theme. Like, where do we start? Like, I can't even think of a player today that played well. I can't even think of a player that you know what, you can come off the pitch and say that you put your most effort in and you try to do something. Like, Benton Core run around and put energy in, but I don't know how many times he lost the ball. Like, literally every player that we had today lost the ball so many times. It's as if we don't practice passing in training. It's just like we just practice sitting in low blocks, defending and counter attacks. Like, if you want to counter attack and be a top team, you've got to be able to pass. Now, for me, we're one of the worst passing teams, and I keep hearing people say to me, "Oh, Conte doesn't want a number 10. Conte doesn't want that." That's fine. But then when you go to Old Trafford and you're trying to retain possession and you're trying to create chances and Man United are on the press and you ain't got a creative midfielder, this is what happens. This is what happens. You can't get out your own half. You're relying on Eric Dyer to play long balls when he couldn't even play short ones. Ben Davies looked like a championship player today. Perisic showed his age. Harry Kane was marshalled by a guy that's about 6 inches taller than my daughter, and he had a wicked game. I'm not going to knock Martinez, but everyone's talking about this guy can't defend. He's small. He ain't got height. He's going to struggle in the Premier League. He's got the arguably top three striker in the Premier League in his back pocket today, simply for the sheer fact because it's pretty easy when you play against Tottenham. Take Harry Kane out of the game and nothing's happening because we're not creating anyway. If Harry Kane's not getting the ball, he's not creating. That means Son might as well not be on the pitch. It's just dumb. It's just ridiculous. And I kept saying to people that this 3-5-2, it works. Don't get it twisted, but it can be exposed because it gets to the point where your fullbacks will be up against two players, and our fullbacks, for me, are our weakest area. But in our formation, they're going to be our strongest. So it's like if you've got Doherty and you've got Perisic, who are getting dominated by, Anthony coming forward and Dallo and Luke Shaw being allowed to push forward because our forwards aren't pressing the fullbacks, what do you expect to happen? Man United killed it. It was so obvious. When you played a 3-5-2, you thought, okay, if Anthony gets on the ball, Rashford and Sancho get on the ball in the wide positions and you allow the fullbacks to come forward. The fullbacks had free reign of the field today. That's why Dallo looked so great. That's why Luke Shaw looked great. It's because who's pressing him? Because everyone's going on about this 3-5-2 and I felt that it works, but if you get to the point where you do your homework, which Ten Hag did, it gets to the point where you're literally saying, well, Luke Shaw and Dallo, you can literally come in and do what you want. Dallo was coming into midfield. He was doing what Cancelo's doing. For the sheer fact, because who's marking him? Sons and Kane are told, are there to occupy the front two. You had Bentancur and Højbjerg didn't know whether to stay central or go out to the fullbacks. And when they went out to the fullbacks, Casemiro and Fred were in there having freedom in the park. So I've said it on numerous occasions that the 3-5-2, play it when required. For me, it's like, if it wasn't working, which it wasn't, then surely you've got to make the change. So when I talk about L's, every single player in that pitch needs to take an L, but so does the manager, because we were 1-0 down, Man United was spanking us, and you decided not to do anything, and then when we're 2-0 down, with 10 minutes to go, you make 4 subs. What's the point? What was the point of that? I know Conte's definitely a better manager than me, but what was the point? Were you trying to tell everybody this is like, was this a statement? Because for me, it's a statement too late, because if you made them subs 10 minutes, 20 minutes earlier, I think we might have got a result. You give yourself more a chance of getting a result because you've got Lucas Moura, Sessegnon. These guys are probably annoyed that they're on the off on the bench. Let them come on and prove that they deserve to be in the starting lineup. But you literally brought it on when Man United were 2-0 up, probably going to go 3-0 up. You know, they were unlucky with the Bruno Fernandes disallowed goal. That was tight. For me, even Conte takes an L on this. You know what I mean? Tottenham are the only club I can think of that can go from a title challenge to a top 4 challenge in 3 days. 3 days. Everybody's talking about Tottenham. We can do this. We can do that. Cool. Go Old Trafford. It's like, right, now we're sweating. Do you know what I mean? If Chelsea won today, sweating. Man United, who are behind us, I think if they win their game in hand, they're a point or so behind us. Arsenal are clear now. Man City, we all know full well that they're going to go on a 10-game run somehow after Liverpool defeat. So now we're sweating in the space of 3 days. You get what I'm saying? This is what we do. And it's because we've got players that definitely aren't up to standard. You know, Conte must know that. You know, you got people like Matt Doherty. You got given a chance today. Dead. You got Perisic, who I like, but he's an old guy, man. He's going up against Anthony, who's one of the freshest forwards in Europe. Freshest, you know, man. He's getting used to life at Man United, dribbling, all that stuff. He had him on toast today. Why are you not playing Sessegnon? At least got a bit of energy. But then if you played Sessegnon today, probably wouldn't be able to defend against him either. Every time I say this, our fallback areas are so bad. But then Conte plays a system where they need to be so strong. I don't know how Jed Spence isn't getting any minutes, but then we haven't got a left wing back that can do a job here. Like I said on a podcast yesterday, if you feel that your squad's good enough, you should have players that if they go on the market, they go to a team on a level peg or above you. So, you know, it's one of those, if you're going to leave Tottenham, you end up going to a Man City, you end up going to a Liverpool, PSG, Real Madrid, all these clubs. But I can only think of about 3 players that if we put them on the market, go to a better club than Spurs. Kane, Son, Kulusevski, and that's it. So how are we talking about challenging for trophies and we're in the best stead we've ever been? For me, the only reason why we're in the position we're in because we've got a top level coach. We ain't got top level players. Do you know what I mean? Lloris turned up today and he was brilliant. But then in the North London derby, let us down. You got Eric Dyer, like, oh man, like it's like we've all been going on about him getting in the England squad. As soon as he gets in the England squad, he can't even pass. He can't even pass. Ben Davies, love your effort. You should be playing for Sheffield United. Sorry, mate. Like, you're just not good enough. Left wing backs aren't good enough. You know what I mean? If let's say Tottenham, we woke up tomorrow morning and Tottenham were in a Champions League quarter-final and we're playing PSG and Mbappe, Messi or Neymar on the right wing. Do we have faith that Sessegnon or Perisic are going to keep them quiet? No. On the other side, any one of them 3, if they're on the other side, no. So what's the point of us being in a competition when we've got players like that? What's the point of talking about Tottenham being in the top echelons of the game when you've got players like that? Do you know what I mean? Like imagine we played like that and Emerson, Chicken Royal, wasn't even playing today. He wasn't even playing today. So realistically, if he was ready and he weren't sent off or he wasn't banned, he would have played today. Would he have got better? No, but he's going to come back in. It's just, like I said, the theme is Tottenham will always be a losing club. You know what I mean? I've got to the point where my son supports Tottenham because he sees me supporting Tottenham. But I don't force it on him because it's a stressful thing to do. There's no point. But it's been stressful for a lot of my life. But I just get to the point where I just go, yeah. As much as I was confident we were going to win today, I'm fully prepared to lose this one. I'm fully prepared. We always go Old Trafford, Anfield, Stamford Bridge, Arsenal. We got ridiculous records there. Why? Because we always bottle it. Like, realistically, Tottenham should, when we're getting our naming brands for the Google Stadium, forget that. Forget the branding of the stadium. We should change the name of our club. Tottenham Hotspur, just get the T at the front of it, take the T off and put a B in front and call it Bottenham Hotspur, because that's what we do. The board bottle it, the players bottle it, coaches bottle it, everyone across the board bottles it. And that's the reason why in the last 20 years, since we've been under the stewardship of ENIC, we've won one trophy and it's a League Cup. But before ENIC Group, we won a lot more. So for me, it's like, if you're a Tottenham fan and think we're going to go places, the saying is, it's the hope that kills you, and Tottenham literally define that. All you got to understand is Tottenham, all we do is L. L, L, L. We'll beat, we'll beat your West Hams. We'll beat Aston Villa, and and we'll go on a little run of 6 games, but we ain't got the metal to go and beat. Oh, look at Newcastle. Newcastle, everyone's talking about, oh, they're not that great. They could have nicked it last week and they put in a better performance than we did. But we're the team that everyone's talking about, Conte this, Conte that. For me, everybody bottled it. I'm not going to sit there and say Conte this, Conte that. Conte bottled it today. He could have easily, brought on Lucas Moura a lot earlier, but he brought him on just to send out a statement. What's the point of statement? Send him out to go and win the game. Send him out to go and get an equaliser. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not going to sit there and say that Man United were crap, because they were really good today. But for me, we were that poor that we could have played Bournemouth today and probably lost. So for me, I had to have this rant. I'm back out on my channel now. And the reason why I thought I'm going to do it is because we've got a game next week. There's going to be a tough one. And we're probably going to mess it up again. So if you're a Spurs fan and you watch it, listen to this channel and here for this for more realism. And if you're an opposing fan, you're going to catch joke, because this is what Tottenham do. This is what we do. Every single player was terrible today. Every single player. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was on a podcast yesterday again. Everyone's talking about Richarlison. Was he 60 million waste of money? I'm sorry. You could have had a championship striker today playing for Tottenham, and we wouldn't have blamed him for the result, because everybody else looked like a championship player today. Terrible. Everybody took an L, and I'm one of those that's an advocate. I'll say it with my chest. I can already see what's going to happen. We're going to get into the World Cup. Daniel Levy's going to promise Conte this money, but he's not going to give him any sort of top-level leverage. And if Conte leaves, I personally believe Harry Kane is going to Bayern Munich. And it's not me being reactionary. I've been saying this all the time. Tottenham are never going to go anywhere, because when we're supposed to do things, we don't. When we're supposed to win games that can take us to a title challenge, we don't. When we're supposed to back managers, we don't. When we've got a project that's working, we mess it up. This is what Tottenham do. That's why we're the laughingstock of London. That's why we're the laughingstock of the Premier League. And it will continue to happen. I support the club, love the club, but we will always, always take the L. Jacob, one up the top. See you lot in a bit.